Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to Thursdays in Black, a daily reflection. One of my fond Boy Scout memories is of our canoe trips that we took at the end of a year. Now, it got to be special for so many reasons. Part of it was that only the older scouts were allowed to go, those who could canoe and swim and pass those merit badges. But the other piece was that we left on a Friday afternoon and we drove a couple of hours to the lodge. When we got to the lodge, it was usually just about dinner time, so everything was left in the vehicles. We went in, we enjoyed a scrumptious dinner, and then went back out to the vehicles to get our clothing, which we then put into the dorm room, no tents this weekend, dorm room, where we would be spending the next 2 nights. When everything was stowed, we raced back to the lodge area because they had a big game room, which was filled with video games, you know, those kinds in those big machines. Many of us spent most of that Friday night playing video games. Some watched some movies. On Saturday morning, after a hearty breakfast, we were driven over to the spot where the canoes were ready for us to launch into the Delaware River. The entire day was spent canoeing. Some got sunburned, some were tan, so all they did was bronze up a little more. We had lunch provided, and we pulled our canoes out at around 4 o'clock, as I recall, and then we're driven back to the lodge to shower, play more games, have a huge dinner, and then our always important and meaningful campfire time. The more we canoed, the more we wanted to canoe. So with that message for the leaders, the year that I graduated high school, our scoutmaster, which happened to be my dad, and the summer camp planning group announced that our summer camp would be different. Instead of 2 weeks in camp, they had found a camp in upstate New York that offered 1 week of camping where scouts could do all of the important things that they needed to do, all the necessities, earn merit badges, advance in ranks, and most importantly, qualify to enjoy a week of canoeing. When this announcement was made, I was heartbroken because I knew that I could not be able to enjoy it this summer. First, I was too old, having turned 18 a month before summer camp, and I had already been given a job for the summer to earn more money for my college career. Those last months, as they kept announcing what was going to happen, and that last canoe weekend only made me more frustrated and upset that I would miss out on what I imagined would be one of the greatest camping experiences ever. And then God intervened on my behalf. My boss at the machine shop came to me the second week of June and told me that the shop closes every year in mid-July for what he said was mandatory vacation. Well, that changed a few things, I thought, as I sat down for my lunch. Started thinking about things to do during that week. When I got home, I called my buddy Steve and told him that we could take some bike trips during the days if he wanted to. Now, I knew Steve wasn't working because his parents were loaded and he had no need to worry about school money. Steve said that would be great. And we actually started planning our trip and getting ready to invite some friends for the day ride when he suddenly said, "I can't go that week. I'll be at camp." What? Which camp? Why? I asked. Well, that's the canoe week. Don't you remember? And I'm not going to miss that one, Steve answered. I had forgotten completely about camp and canoe week. Now I really was bummed out. A week at home with nothing to do. All of my other friends were working. It would be lonely. When my dad, remember the scoutmaster, came home from work, he said, "Hey, I know that the shop closes in mid-July. Did you want to go to camp that week and be an assistant scoutmaster for the troop during the canoe week?" Oh, whoa, now I was stoked. And I said, absolutely. A couple of weeks left before camp, and I had to do double duty. I had to work my work job and also get ready for all of the camp stuff that I needed to have in line so that I could leave on Friday afternoon and drive up to the camp. And I'll tell you, what a wonderful time it was canoeing. Well, most of the days anyway. We left on Saturday morning, and things went smoothly until one day. We encountered rapids in the morning. That's when the river runs over the rocks, and it was really rough and tumbly. Some of us advanced scouts decided to run the rapids, as they say. We canoed through them. Others took the canoes out of the water, walked downstream, and relaunched after the rapids were done. We just kept paddling along, and after lunch, we struggled. The wind picked up, and it blew hard and strong in our face all afternoon long. It was indeed hard work as I remember it. In fact, it's so ingrained in my mind that we started having mutiny at about middle of the afternoon, way before we normally would have thought to stop for camping, and we were well short of our camping spot destination when the scouts said, "No more." Well, Steve and I were willing to push on because, that was us. But Scoutmaster Ron agreed to call it a day. We also agreed as scouts that we would then get up in the morning and push hard so that we would be back on schedule by the end of the afternoon. Well, I'll tell you, here's what I remember of the afternoon that we stopped early. We set up camp. We lounged around on the riverbank. Just relaxed. I think some of the kids actually took naps. There was no swimming, no running around, no horsing around. And I don't remember a single person asking about when could we start playing Capture the Flag, our daily afternoon activity when we had stopped before. I watched as our exhausted scouts cooked their dinner early and then headed to bed. Most of them before it was dark. Worn out by the hard, unexpected work, the fellow scouts murmured, even during breakfast the next morning, if our plan was too ambitious. 3 days of canoeing was beginning to take the toll that we leaders didn't think about. 3 days of canoeing the waterways. The fun was being replaced with questions. How much further? Will we really finish Friday afternoon? Can we quit now and have them come and pick us up? Well, I also felt that yesterday and a little bit today. How much longer must we wait and live this way? Can we just stop now and have someone come and get us and take us to our final destination of the promised land of, I think that means in-person gathering for worship and small groups and life again? Well, just as those scouts did, we too must get back in our canoes and keep on paddling until we reach the destination. But here, it obviously means gathering again. But here we have no idea when that will be. At least the scouts had a target spot for when the trucks would pick them up. We just don't know that location, do we? I'm wondering, can we do it? Yes, we can. Just as those scouts did, we will reach our final spot when we celebrate the journey that has been well done. We will gather again in worship. Just when? Who knows? So let's keep paddling and canoeing on the rivers. And when it comes to that heavy wind in front of our faces, the anxiety and worry and fears of when will this happen? When will this end? What will happen? How will we possibly? Let's just keep paddling. We'll pause. We'll rest early days. We'll gather on the riverside. We'll relax. We'll go to bed early. We'll have dinner and breakfast. and then go back at it again. We will, because we know it means to journey well and paddle, even when we're not sure of the outcome. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday, and if you turned into the Rhythm Method 4 concert, I'll tell you, your seats got rearranged. Some people who are in the front are now in the back. Families have been split up because they don't know how to put us back together again. But Rhythm Method 4 was a great concert. Hope you enjoyed it. So see you on Sunday. Even if it's a virtual wave, please wave to me. And of course, wash your hands a couple of times a day, 20 seconds at a crack. Put that hand lotion on. Remember to love one another, to care for one another, to listen to one another, to love one another. Practice the important social distancing, physical distancing. Wear your mask when you go out. And of course, Sergeant Esterhaus dismisses us for our evening's activities with those famous words, "Be careful out there."